everyone, and welcome back to the She Shoots podcast, Women Empowering Women in the Shooting Community, Season 2, Episode 20. And today we're doing Jerrika in the Wild. Today's episode will be covering the theme of professional/career. As you guys know, and if you don't know, my name is Regina Ruiz Ordóñez, and I'm from the Canadian University Shooting Federation. And joining me today, as always, are my co-hosts, Deneen Tomlin and Casey Gavinchuk from Lady Guns, and Kaylee Melanson from Maple Seed Project, Samfire Radio, and CCFR Women's Program. I'd like to start by thanking our sponsors, Cabela's Canada Outdoor Fund, positively shaping the future of the outdoors. Every cent donated by rounding up at checkout goes towards helping Canadian organizations just like ours. Savage Arms, home to the Stevens single-shot rifles and shotguns. Beretta, family-owned and operated since 1526. Vortex, the best in optics, and Canada First Ammo. If you have any questions throughout the show, make sure to leave them in the chat box below. Doing so will automatically enter you for today's giveaways. Today we have a She Shoots t-shirt, a CUSF prize package, and a Canada First Ammo prize pack. So that's it for me. On to Deneen and Kelly to introduce our guests for today.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it and appreciate the time with the ladies again tonight. Looking forward to this interview, Jerrika. So Kelly, we've got a fabulous lady. We've got lots to learn about, and I get the honor of the introduction. Should I get right into it?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So let's talk about Jerrika and Jerrika in the Wild. She's a 36-year-old mother of 6 who, I'm sorry, I had to stop right there. Who lives between Southern Ontario and Eastern Alberta, owner and operator of Jem Medical in Ontario and a psychiatric nurse in Alberta. Jerrika has dedicated herself to constantly bettering herself, her mind, her body, and soul. This includes bettering the lives of others along the way, organizing charity events, training healthcare workers, working with high acuity patients, and more. If that isn't already enough, Jerrika is extremely active in outdoor activities with a heavy focus on hunting and harvesting for her family, friends, and community. Jerrika has dedicated her life to learning and passing on traditional techniques she has acquired, maintaining the values she's been taught, honoring the animals she harvests by utilizing as much of the animal as possible, all in an effort to preserve conservation efforts to protect our wildlife for many generations to come. Welcome tonight to the show, Jerrika. We're honored to have you.
Thank you. And I'm like fighting a little sunspot here. So if you see me adjusting myself, that's why.
Well,
no, I know. I'm like, I can't. Yeah.
Well, we're super excited to have you here. You're one of my most favorite people in the world. I talk to you almost on a regular basis. But why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? We got the bio. One of the things I do know is you're one of the busiest women in the world. So thank you so much for coming on tonight. And like really seriously, 6 kids. Did we mention that you were also a CCFR gunny girl? I'm not sure if we did that. Did we?
I don't think that was in there. No.
No. But so yeah, why don't you tell us a little bit about your background? I know that we have a connection on a couple of different levels. Whether it's through the CCFR or Indigenous heritage, but also on a hunting background. But why don't you tell us about where you grew up and basically how did you get into hunting and shooting?
Yeah, so my story is kind of crazy because I was born in Mississauga by accident. My parents were there, and all of a sudden I decided like, hey, this is where I want to be. So here I am. My family is originally from New Brunswick. However, I was raised in Ontario, grew up mainly in southwestern Ontario, close to the London area, but was in New Brunswick for, I'd say, every summer growing up. So I've been in and out of the woods with my dad since, before I could walk, really. Born in February, in the woods by the time summer rolled around. So I've been around hunting and fishing and trapping pretty much my whole life. I guess it was one of those things that I always really wanted to get into myself, but I didn't know how, because as much as I was kind of like that son that my dad didn't have, even though he did have a son, I was still the girl. I was a girl, and, I was around the hunting guys, but you know how it is. It's different, right? When you're one of the girls. So I ended up taking it upon myself to go and do the hunting course after I actually got sick as an adult. So it was a bucket list thing. Decided to go get my firearms license, ended up doing my restricted training as well. got into hunting, literally got my hunting license on November 17th and was like out bow hunting deer the next day.
Wow.
Unsuccessfully, but I was out there trying. And and that was, I want to say, about 6 years ago. And from there, it's just been this huge catalyst, because anybody who knows me, I don't do things at 10%. I like to throw myself into them 150. And, that's just kind of the way that I rolled into it. And it's been really fun because I've been able to do those things with my dad now. I've obviously had a lot of really amazing opportunities to be able to take him all over the world. I've been very, very lucky.
Wow. And you're also doing this while you've been balancing your home life as well. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your background? You indicated that you own your own business and that you are a nurse as well. Do you want to tell us a little bit about those?
Yeah, so the nice thing about that is that they kind of intertwine. My business is a medical clinic. So when I started nursing, I actually was a forensic nurse for quite some time. And I love psychiatric nursing. I love forensics. I love all of that. But I wanted to do something else that gave me a little bit more flexibility, because again, 6 kids. So, it's nice to be able to say, hey, I'm going to go and I'm going to watch a concert or a hockey game or whatever they have going on, because literally always everywhere. So I opened up my medical clinic in 2020. It is in Strathroy, Ontario. It does all kinds of different things, from Botox to IV vitamins to sclerotherapy to PRP therapy, all over the place. So I do have a couple of nurses that work for me, as well as a couple of estheticians, things like that. So the nice thing is it can operate while I'm not in Ontario.
Yeah.
Because that's another big question people have, is how the heck are you moving between provinces? But I've kind of set it up so that it can self-sustain when I'm not there, which is really nice.
Oh, that's awesome.
And what's the name of your clinic again, just
Yeah.
so we can remind people?
It is Jem Medical, which is an homage to where my name came from, because I was named after a terrible cartoon called Jem and the Holograms.
I didn't know that about you. Something new.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you decided to get into hunting yourself. Your dad did it. You grew up around it, but you decided to get up. So you said that you got sick, and you were sick that you decided to go in and hunt your own food, or was it because of the fact that you had just a little bit extra time and it was something that you always wanted to do? It was on your bucket list, or
so it was one of those things.
What was the reasoning to get your hunting license? Was that her or me?
Are we good? It cut out for a second there. I don't know what happened.
Okay.
Okay,
We're
sorry.
good now.
No, I think we all did. We're good now. Yeah.
Okay. So when I got sick, I actually had cervical cancer, and ended up having a radical hysterectomy, had a double mastectomy, reconstruction, all the good stuff, because I actually carry the gene. And it was a bucket list thing. Like, I was like, man, tomorrow is not promised. I really went through one of these things where I was like, I actually could have lost my life. I was very lucky. I didn't have to go through any extreme treatments. I mean, some might call surgery extreme, but to me, it was just kind of an easy choice. But I just really wanted to pursue things that I thought I had more time to do. And it was one of those things where I really wanted to try. I really loved the idea of providing, good quality food for my family. I always grew microgreens indoors, things like that. So hunting was kind of like the next step for me.
And what is it that you typically like to hunt and put on your family table, Jerrika?
Literally everything. So being from Southwestern Ontario, we don't have as many options as I have here in Alberta, but my family definitely loves goose. We call it goose sketty all the time because I grind up goose meat and use it for everything. But we're big on venison. We have harvested bears before. We do a lot of duck hunting. Turkey is probably one of my favorites. Basically anything that Southwestern Ontario has to offer. And now that I'm in Alberta, I'm a dead fast moose fan. I'm like really loving on the moose meat. So I love hunting of all kinds. I love the challenge of it. I really enjoy archery hunting. It really just depends where I am, but.
And are you able to hunt in both provinces?
I am.
That's exciting. There's
Yeah.
there's turkeys there and moose here, so you get the best of both. That's fantastic.
Right, exactly.
Mhm.
I would say that the only thing about Alberta is they don't have wild turkey. They do, but it's like southern
Yeah.
Alberta, and they're rare. It's not like back home where you're like hitting them with your car and everything because they're just
No.
everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah. We have a turkey supplemental here. So yeah, but they do put them out there. But
Yeah.
well, that's super exciting. And you said it was only like 6 years ago.
Yeah. Yep.
That's amazing.
It
That's
snowballed
absolutely
quite fast, didn't it?
Has it ever?
You just, I think it's something that all the guests that we have on say the exact same thing. It's like everybody, and also your co-hosts that are on tonight as well. Nobody does things, half-heartedly. We all dive in feet first. I think it's
Oh, yeah.
and that's the best thing about women in our sport, but also women supporting each other. That's what we find too.
I think like
Yeah.
part of it too is that we feel like we only have so much time. So
Mm.
we have to really make the most of it. Like if I'm working and I've got my kids and I've got all these different things going on, when I'm out there and I'm like going to live out there for the time that I can because that's all I have. And you just learn to appreciate it more too, I think.
Okay. So you say you spend your time between Alberta and southwestern Ontario. How do you balance it out? Do you, like today? I think you said that you're in Edmonton, but how do you balance out your life basically between what you want to do and what your hunting and everything, and then also your responsibilities for your family and everything?
Yeah. So, I mean, chaotically, there's definitely no, it's not pretty. I would say that, you have to, this sounds terrible, but you have to have really realistic, low expectations for some things that don't matter. I remember thinking in my head, if my kids are wearing socks, do I really care if they match? No, probably not, because we all have socks on and we're out the door. So it's kind of that same mentality with everything I do. Let things go. It doesn't matter. It's fine. We're just managing things and we're getting through, and the house didn't burn down and everybody's alive and it's been a good day. So, it changes month to month. It changes week to week, sometimes day to day, because I actually also just started university. So,
Yeah,
like
like you were busy enough.
I'm like, well, why not? The nice thing is that that's a hybrid program. So I actually can do it online from Ontario when I'm not in Alberta. So I'm kind of all over, but I try to structure it so that I'm spending about 50% of my time and optimizing the time I'm in Ontario to when my kids are free. So, weekends when they're not in school, or like the end of the week kind of thing. And then that way during the day, I'm working at the clinic, and then I'm spending my nights and weekends with the kids, coming back to Alberta, filming hunts, doing different things like that, working here, going to school. It's chaotic and crazy and ever changing, but it works for us.
Yeah. You have
So
to be super organized too. Just saying.
Yeah, I'm pretty disturbing with that kind of stuff. My partner's always making fun of me because I have like these day planners and highlighters and everything's color coded, and he's just like, I can't even think about what I'm having tomorrow for breakfast. So we're just different people that way too.
Mm-hmm.
So Jerrika, if you laid that all down for us, and our heads are spinning, and we're talking to a lady that also decided, since she started hunting, to take on becoming a TV personality and putting a show together.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm sure everybody that's viewing us live, and anybody that's going to watch it on YouTube a little bit later, or listen on the podcast stations, they want to know, how did it come to be? How did you get discovered? Sponsors, like all that stuff. In Canada, it's not as big as in the US. So when we get to meet somebody that gets to do something like this, we're all ears wanting to know, how did it all come together?
So I would be lying if I said there wasn't an element of luck. For sure, 110%. I've been very lucky when it comes to all of this. I have a background with social media that dates back to 2014. I used to be a sponsored athlete for for a supplement company called Mutant. So I was a bodybuilder doing figure competitions, and I was sponsored by their company. So I had already a relatively large social media presence. And then fast forward to opening my clinic, things like that, that kind of carried forward, where with everything that I did, I was kind of able to continue to grow my following. And then all of a sudden they see this nurse and fitness competitor who's out in the bush hunting, and they're like, what the hell? I just want to watch this person because she's literally everywhere doing everything right now. You know, and whether it's like the parenting things, whether it's the sport things, whether it's the hunting, whether it's the nursing, all of these different elements, people just wanted to kind of see a little bit of that, because I felt like I fit into a lot of different niches for people. You know, and then when I started kind of doing like some of the charity work that I was doing and things like that, like everything just kind of expanded on itself. And the CCFR was actually a huge part of my start, because when I got to be one of the Gunny girls in the calendar, that kind of was the catalyst for getting my sponsorships in the hunting world. So it started with being in the calendar, and then I got a sponsorship with Bullseye North Superstore in London. And from there I was with Canuck, and then it just kind of snowballed. And I ended up doing a couple of different talks. I was at TACOM last year, and I was approached, and somebody just said, hey, we're looking for a new female TV personality for Wild TV, and your life is chaotic and ridiculous, and people would really like it. So it was like, oh, okay, well, so just like put me on display. That's cool. But I like that my show isn't just about the kill. It's not just about hunting. It's something that the whole family can sit down, watch, and there's elements in it, again, for every little niche. Like whether it's, you know, trying to get my kids ready for something, or I'm showing you how to skin something or cook something, or being out in the bush and showing you when I don't get an animal. Learning with me, because again, I'm still new to this. Like, I'm not boasting myself as any kind of professional hunter. I'm really not. So it's, you know, just, I guess, like I said, a series of luck and just growth over the years.
Yeah. It's snowballed quite quickly, though, from what I saw. So what about the format? So it's Jerrika in the Wild. That's what the TV show is called. It's on Wild TV, but
Sure is.
Okay, so the segments themselves, is it a 1 hour segment? Are you currently taping for it? What's going on with that?
So it's a half-hour show currently for this season. And even that was like, it's almost harder than filming an hour, because you have to cut everything down and make it like 22 minutes. And you're like, ugh. It is a 10 episode season. We're almost done the season, actually. And then I'll be moving into filming for season 2, hopefully. Each episode is different. They don't build on themselves. It's nothing like that. There's no storyline. It's just showing you different things I've done. Probably one of my favorite episodes was when I went with my dad and my son and got to go hunt in Northern Ontario. That one was really cool. So a lot of family element, friends, things like that. Again, showing the processing, showing like what you do after the kill. It's a little bit of everything.
Okay. So do you do all your segments all at once, or does it happen over, like, you'll do 5 segments and then you'll do another 5 segments? Or
no, it's been airing since March. So we're just waiting. I believe the last episode will be coming out within the next month. I think this week was actually a rerun week, but so we filmed it as we were going, though, which was, do not recommend. But because we did get such a late start with TACOM being last September, we started filming in October. And if you hunt, you know that good luck getting any structured or guided hunts that late in the season. So it was kind of piecing together what I could, things that I already had. It was super chaotic for a season 1, but I think that the finished product turned out really, really well. I was really happy with who I was working with, and yeah.
Do you have a say in what's being aired as well?
I do. I would say I have a 90% say.
Okay.
So I did put a lot of faith in my production team as well. I was working with the guys from Coat of Arms, who I love. They're fantastic.
They're great. Yeah,
they are. They really are. And I'm sure they are so sick of me right now, because I would get so tired of filming things, and it's such a different world filming, like, because I make TikToks and I make videos and I do whatever, but it's like on my time and I can edit it the way that I want. And when you have to like walk backwards and do the same line 30 times, by the end of it, you're just like, this isn't even fun anymore. Like, I'm just over it. But you know, there are times where you have to do that. So I really appreciated their patience with that and with me. But I think that, we learned a lot because they come from a tactical background, not so much a hunting background. So it was kind of like a learning curve for both of us.
Yeah. So you do have a camera crew. You have your own team that goes out with you then.
Yes. Yeah. And I'm starting to get a little bit more into the self-taping. Again, just learning curve, right? So with the self-taping, it does provide you more opportunity to get more shots, especially because I can't just put Mike in my back pocket and take him everywhere with me all the time. So season 2 will probably be a lot more of the self-filmed and then still have segments of the more cinematic stuff. But yeah.
Okay. Well, so with that, you said that you were at TACCOM last year. Were you at TACCOM this year?
This year I was not.
No.
No, I was not. I actually was in Alberta during TACCOM this year. We had some family stuff going on, so I was not able to make it, which it really sucks because, there's a lot of people there that you want to see and meet up with, but sometimes it's just not in the books. So
do you tend to find that you have some promotional obligations, like do you run the circuit is what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, I try to be there for certain things. I've always been really big about trying to be there, especially for Canuck and CCFR, because again, they're OG, right? So I'm like, I try my best to be there. I was at the Toronto Sportsman and things like that. I was actually at the booth for Toronto Sportsman with the CCFR that weekend. So yeah.
So let's talk about, you've mentioned a couple of company names, just making sure they get into the show tonight, your sponsors, your shout outs to your team for the show. Drop some names for us, Jerrika.
Yeah, for sure. So I am sponsored by, again, Canuck and Odell Engineering, as well as Bergera, who are all kind of the little company together, big company, little company, my goodness, big company together. The CCFR, as well as Vortex, which I know I heard you guys mention as well. I am sponsored by Tasmania Tiger, which makes some really cool stuff for vehicles, for going tactical off-roading, that kind of thing. I'm like, now I'm on the spot, so I'm going to forget everybody. Holy heck. And it's so funny because I hear this during my show every time the commercials come on. Kent Cartridge. Good grief. Almost forgot that, Bruto. So Kent Cartridge, and actually it's really cool with them. When I reached out to them about sponsorship, they were like, it's about time. We were wondering when you were going to come to us, because I had always been posting their product. I've always used their shotgun shells when it comes to waterfowling and turkey. So they were kind of like, what the heck? Why did you wait so long? Again, Greenhorn, I know nothing about sponsorship and getting sponsors. So they've been really great. Weeby Knives, which is actually an American company that's slowly moving into Canada, really big into trapping as well with them. So they kind of had a lot of the crossover with that.
What about your production team? You mentioned.
So Corey
and
and Mike, they are awesome, and they are the production team. So they're with Coat of Arms. And I know that Corey also works along with, and I'm going to forget the firearms name company right now. I'm not affiliated with them, but they're worth a shout out for sure. If I can remember their name, because I know they were at TACCOM this weekend as well. Oh my goodness.
I don't remember it either.
But yeah, I'm totally having a brain fart right now.
No worries. And your show is exclusive to Wild TV, is it?
It is, yes.
All right. And how about social media? You said you're pretty good at that. So where can people find you? I know Casey will post this later if she's got it, but let us know, where can people see information about you and your show, Jerrika?
Everywhere. No, just kidding. So I'm on Instagram and I made it really easy for everybody. So my handles on Instagram and TikTok are Jerrika in the Wild. Same with Facebook. So if you look up Jerrika in the Wild on any of those platforms, you will find me. My TikTok right now is kind of on a little bit of a break. I find that of all the platforms, that is the one that I struggle the most with in terms of censorship and being able to post what I want when it comes to firearms or hunting or anything, because I'm constantly getting put in timeout by them. So I kind of took a little bit of a step back with it, but I am slowly getting back there. But Instagram is probably where I'm the most active, as well as Facebook.
Yeah.
Outstanding. And if you're looking at your metrics and all the information that comes back, how much are you getting picked up by ladies, young girls, compared to guys? Have you checked that out?
I have. And I will say that, just being a female in a male dominated industry, obviously my male viewership
Yeah.
is quite a bit
Demographic.
higher. But yeah, my female demographic is still around 30%, which I think is really,
That's
really
great.
great.
Yeah,
I
that's
thought
awesome.
so too, for sure. And I think part of that too, like being the nurse and everything helps with that as well.
Yeah.
But obviously I'm really big on trying to get women into hunting and firearms and everything. So I'm always trying to post that stuff. But yeah, and I find that I'm getting more and more Canadians as well, because obviously I have a huge demographic of American followers, which is fantastic. But the Canadians are starting to catch up. And oddly enough, Brazil. I don't know where they came from, but I'll take it. It's okay. Welcome, Brazil. It's all good.
Right.
Brazil has a very strong, and I do mean very strong, hunting community. They really do.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they do.
Yeah.
I had a
They
friend of
very
mine who just did a hunt down there, and it's huge.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Would not have known. So
yeah.
that's really cool.
So what do you do? Like, you have so much going on in your life. Like, I know that, having the TV show and then adding the university on top of it. So what are you doing right now to bring balance? Because it's all important about bringing balance too. I know that you're super organized and you're saying to yourself, okay, not matching socks. That's okay. We're going to let that go.
We're good.
Okay. But what else do you do to bring balance to your life?
So I'm really big on fitness, obviously. Like, I'm not competing anymore these days, but I really believe in moving your body, just getting that blood flowing, feeling the all the happy chemicals that come along with that. Everybody kind of has their thing. Some people really enjoy running. I really love picking up heavy things and putting them back down. And my partner and I also go, obviously we put many miles on, whether it's scouting or whether we're actually out hunting. So being able to do that together and just being outside, putting my bare feet in the grass, so important for me.
Wow.
Those are good words of advice, because it doesn't really, it doesn't mean you have to stick to a particular thing. So move and connect with the earth is what I heard.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
I think that's great. Good for you. So it's not just Post-it notes and calendars.
No. And sometimes the best thing in the world that you can do is literally just chuck it in the F-it bucket and walk away and just go outside and let the sun touch your skin, and it's okay, because when you come back, it's still going to be there, but you at least took that time to breathe, get some sun, get some fresh air, and just reset.
Yeah. Couldn't agree with you more. So I just want to, take that and just cycle back a little bit on women and young girls, and getting them into the sport, getting them into shooting, gun ownership, understanding and appreciating what it means, and sort of your motivation. You've got 6 kids. You've got girls, boys. We didn't really talk about that.
Yeah, I have 5 boys and 1 girl. So
wow.
I am boy mom through and through. There's definitely no secret there, but my girl can definitely hold her own. Kira is actually my niece, who we've had in our care for 8 years. So she's been around the boys enough that she definitely stands up for herself. She likes to be outside. There's certain things that still we're trying to get the breakthrough, the worms and things like that for fishing, but she does really well, and she just still enjoys being outside and getting to spend the time in the outdoors. And even if that means just watching, and she definitely enjoys the firearms, which is fantastic, but she's more of a target shooter, which I love, like getting her out. I remember when Bullseye gave me a bunch of little 22s to test out with the kids to see how they would like them. And she just thought it was the best thing in the world. So I love that. And my youngest is 6. And he is actually in one of my episodes. He went on a waterfowl hunt with me. So my boys are all definitely into the hunting world. My second oldest, because he was in Alberta with me this weekend, just saw his first moose and elk. So, I mean, it's awesome. Like, I love that my kids get these experiences, and, they really definitely share that love of the outdoors. So
what do you think we need to do as women and moms to build and grow on that and encourage more kids at least learning about it? They don't have to pick up the gun. They don't have to, but what should we be doing, Jerrika, in your opinion?
I've always been a firm believer that even if you never plan on using a firearm, you should always know how to disarm it, or at least prove it safe. Even teaching kids firearm safety in an age appropriate level, I think, is extremely important. It's something that I think that, when you have these companies come into the schools and talk about drugs, that they should also be adding an element of firearm safety. All of the I don't even want to say all. I'm not even going to get statistics, but a lot of deaths in Canada that are, firearms related are because of accidents. So just having that put into place for kids, I think would be great. Encouraging them just to try it out, see how they like it. Obviously, the safety aspect of it. But it's fun, they're playing with Nerf guns and they're playing video games and they're doing these things and getting them in the outdoors and actually trying the real thing and talking to them about, again, heritage and, harvesting and the reason that we want to be doing that. I think it can become just like a really good family thing. Again, a safety thing. It's a sport that doesn't require a lot of team effort if there's those kids that are a little bit more closed in. Lots of different elements to it. But I think as parents, we can really encourage them to come out with us, spend that quality time together, see why we love it, and then just let them kind of grow from there.
You do such a great job with that. I see all your posts with your kids and you're so involved in everything, every aspect of their lives, but in particular with the hunting and just spending time with them. So I think that what you grew up with your father, that'll translate into your boys. It's kind of funny. You were the girl with your father and now
I have all these boys.
Yeah.
And I love it because my boys love the idea of hunting camp life, right? Like, oh, we're going to go off grid and we're going to have campfires and we're going to go and do this. And they love being on ATVs and all this stuff. And, it's so funny because people talk about raising boys and like, they're so chaotic when they're young, but the older they get, it's like, just keep them alive on all of these different power toys and stuff. But yeah, they love it.
And is that all woven to Jerrika in the Wild, the TV show? The family, the heritage, all of that is part of it?
It is. I know in one episode, for example, I have my daughter, again, she's not big in the hunting, but I have an episode where she's in the kitchen with me, helping me show people how you can bear meat.
Yeah.
Things like that, right? So.
Outstanding. I look forward to seeing it. I've just seen the promo. So
yeah.
Right, Cal.
So, before we get into some recommendations for those people who want to become TV stars and all of that, I know I didn't ask it. We kind of prepped it a little bit with some of our questions. We sent those to you, and then Deneen brought up a good point. You're heavily involved with your Indigenous culture now, and you're talking about it in the bio as well about how you will use all of the animal, and you're just talking about prepping the bear fat, or sorry, not the bear fat, but the bear meat when canning it. So do you want to talk just a little bit about that perspective of how you as an Indigenous person are actually taking the whole entire animal and your processing?
Yeah. So for me, I didn't grow up with culture that way. I mean, so obviously I'm very, very mixed. My Indigenous culture reaches back to my grandmother is actually half. So I learned that as a young adult, and from there decided that I really wanted to start delving into and learning about that side of my culture. My father's Acadian as well. So, the Acadian and the Indigenous in the East Coast both come from a very rich culture, very, like the hunting and the trapping was such a big part of their life. And I really felt connected to that. So, sitting and learning with people, I grew up around Anishinaabe people in Ontario, learning from them, sitting with them and just seeing how much they respected what they were doing and just kind of making that a part of my life as well. And now, being in a relationship with a Cree man, learning about their culture as well and the different aspects of hunting and harvesting to them. So it's always been a really big part of my hunting life to make sure that I'm honoring those traditions, whether it's things that I've learned along the way or whether it was things that were passed down to me. I just think that it's really, really important to respect the animal, to understand that, that animal gave its life, which is a really, really big sacrifice, and that it's not for nothing. It's our responsibility to treat that appropriately and to be respectful.
Are you incorporating that piece into your show as well?
Yes. And actually, I do have a lot of Indigenous guests on the show as well, so that they can teach it from an Indigenous perspective, because a big thing for me is maintaining that I'm not speaking over Indigenous voices, people who were raised in the culture, who are connected, who, are Indigenous people. Like, I don't ever want to speak over anybody who has those lived experiences. So it's really important for me for them to be on the show. You can see J. Roy in the first episode, and he talks about what it is for him to be a Cree man who hunts. And I think it's just really important being able to see that from that Indigenous perspective.
Yeah, I do too. So thank you for getting that messaging out as well.
Sharing it. Yes, absolutely.
Denise, you... Oh,
Sorry.
okay. I don't know if it's you or if it's me. Everybody's cutting out.
Oh,
I was just saying thank you for sharing that, and thank you for adding that to your show, Jerrika. I think that there's a lot of narratives that people choose to follow, and I think if we can just get to the basics and the roots of us as people and what we honor and what we respect, I think that will even the playing field in a lot of the conversations. So I think that's fantastic.
absolutely.
And for those of us who love the outdoors and honor the outdoors and Mother Nature and just getting our feet in the grass, as you said, I think there's a lot of that we share too. We're very like-minded, no matter what background or color we are. I think that's beautiful. So I love that that's part of the narrative of your show, because it makes it part of being an outdoors woman something we can all share and come at from the same place. So
Oh,
I think
for
that's
sure.
beautiful.
And I think that's a really, important thing for people to realize is there's so much misconception around Indigenous hunting specifically. So allowing those people as well to share perspective on that and what it means to them culturally, what it means to them, as just Indigenous people is really important, because again, all those misconceptions that are out there, it's bridging the gap between the Indigenous and non-Indigenous hunters as well.
Yeah, exactly. All
So,
right.
so going back to the show and the woman's perspective, why was it important to you to say yes when this opportunity came? Because people are going to say it's a women's hunting show, but you've just told us it's Jerrika's life, and it honors all of these things. And you also said at kind of the top of the questions, look, I've only been doing this for 6 years. I'm not a professional hunter. I'm a newbie. So
Yeah.
So your show is honoring all these things. So tell us why it's important to have this woman's hunting show that's not a hunting show.
So for me, I think a big part of it is because, and you guys obviously touched on it in the beginning, I get asked constantly, how do you do everything you do? And I want people to know that it doesn't matter what background you come from, what you do, who you are, you can do everything I'm doing too. When it comes to hunting, when it comes to harvesting, there's no reason that, with the right tools, you couldn't be out there doing those things too, maybe on a smaller scale, but just showing people that it is possible. I learned later in life. Yes, I had exposure, but to be able to go out by myself and do those things, I was a 30-year-old woman, and also showing people what it's like to learn, the mistakes I make, that you don't always harvest an animal, little things like that you pick up too, because there's nothing worse than watching a show where they like slam a huge animal every episode and you're like, oh yeah, okay, wow, yeah, great, so I suck. And I don't want people to think like that. Like, I want people to realize that 90% of the time when you are out hunting, you are out there scouting, you are out there just being on the land, and it's never for nothing. Never. You'll see on my Instagram too, I'll post things like, oh, I walked 7 kilometers to no animal, but I found a mushroom, and I'm always just like so happy about that stinking mushroom. But it's never for nothing. You always walk away taking something with you, whether you're like, you got busted by something, you're like, okay, well, that happened. Now I know what to implement in my next hunt. So right. I think it was really important to say yes and show people the reality of everything, yeah, I'm new. I'm not perfect at this. I'm going to make mistakes. I'm a family person. I can't get out every time I want. I'm going to have my kids with me sometimes, which means I'm not going to see anything, but reality.
There's always learning moments.
Always. Some of them are funny. Sometimes it's hilarious.
I bet there's a lot of stuff that doesn't even make it in the show that's cut, been a lot of laughter. So
yeah, my beat budget is really small, so they always give me heck for that because I have a potty mouth. So there'll be things I'll trip or something, and it's so there definitely we're gonna have to have like a behind the scenes or like a cut episode or something that I can air somewhere, because definitely lots of ass over tea kettle as well.
Which is part of the yeah.
Some of those would be actually a funny episode. Some of the outtakes. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Let the Gunny Girl alumni view it first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what types of recommendations do you have for people who think that they'd like to actually follow in your footsteps? They want to become sponsored shooters, or they want to actually do their own show. They think that they have a concept.
Yeah, so I'm going to say this. A lot of people are going to discourage you. A lot of people are going to try to shame you and tell you that what you're doing is showboating, or you're sharing too much. Social media was huge for me, and if you use it appropriately, because yes, it can be terrifying and horrible, but if you actually use it appropriately and you're documenting and you're sharing and you're engaging with people, that is how you're seen. Posting companies, like the products that you're using, tag, man, tag everybody, use hashtags, and just like being at different events, helping out, volunteer with different things, like offer yourself up to a company to work a pro show or something at some point. Just really making those connections in the industry is helpful. And don't listen to people saying, oh, you post too much of your life online. That's the whole freaking point. That's literally the whole point. You don't have to post your bowel movements, but you can still post like when you're out in the woods and doing different things. So just be mindful and just ignore the haters, because if people are hating on you, you're doing something right. So
there's a U.S. outdoors journalist, and her number one article was how to pee in the woods. So just saying.
For real. Hey, you know what? The she pee is a great thing. It is true. And it's funny. Don't ever forget toilet paper. I can't even tell you how many times my partner and I have come home and he's got half a sock on one foot. So,
these are important things to know. Words of advice.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So Jerrika, we talked about your sponsors. And we talked about your dad a little bit, but let's talk about your mentors, your advisors, those people that motivate you, and keep you going.
Yeah. So, I mean, man, I've had so many people that have been, again, so amazing in the industry. Like, honestly, the Kellys with the CCFR. No, but you guys really, honestly, because again, you're OG, right? And
well,
Tracy,
thanks.
Obviously, you've been around since the beginning. And Tracy, same thing. She's always been really, really supportive. Even, Phil Odell, and he'll probably laugh when I say that, but he is like, just so supportive, so amazing. Really He's like, honestly, one of the most amazing people that I've met in the industry. Again, Corey and Mike have been really amazing. Even though I know they're so frustrated with me, they've just been so great. Scott Sterling with Wild TV has been very supportive. There's just been so many people, and all of the outfitters that have reached out to me to work with me who've been really good about helping me out. Most recently, I was out with Lance Albert from Battle River Cree Outdoors in Sweetgrass, Saskatchewan, and that was really, really cool. And, obviously my partner has been a great support through all of this. Also probably sick of me.
I doubt that.
Yeah, I don't know. And then my kids.
Your kids.
My kids they're just top notch, because they've been so patient with the changing schedules and me being all over the place, but they're loving, because they feel famous, right? Because they're on TV. So they're just like, oh, my mom, she has this TV show. I've been on it. So it's so funny the way that they love it. But honestly, I've had so many great people keeping me focused and encouraging me in all of this. And I'm really looking forward to keep moving with it, because there's just so many great people in this industry.
There really is. There really, truly is. So why don't you tell everybody again? One, what's the name of the show?
Oh, Jerrika in the Wild. Sorry, I was waiting for it too.
And where can you find it, and when's it airing?
So you can find it on Wild TV, and it airs 3 times a week. I believe it is Sunday night, Wednesday night, and Friday morning. I could be wrong. Okay. But you can also find it on their app. They're going to be streaming it on their app starting next week.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And what about you? Where can people see you on social media? Again, TikTok, you've taken a step back. I know. That's where I was following you. Yeah. But
yeah. So TikTok, I took a little bit of a step back, but I am on Instagram and I am on Facebook, and I really honestly do my best to engage with my followers. So if you shoot me a message, I promise I do my best to get back to you.
Okay. And is there anything else that you want to end the show off with? Whether it's a shout out or just a thought for those people that are listening, or women who are thinking about getting into hunting?
I don't, again, being on the spot, all I know is that I'm a huge believer that women can do everything men can do, only we can do it, the whole work smarter, not harder bit. I do believe that, we have a little bit more in the bucket when it comes to organization and planning and certain things. So, just go out there, show the men what you're made of. There's no reason you can't be doing these things. If you ever have any questions about processing, feel free to reach out. I love to help when I can. So.
Perfect. Excellent. Well, Jerrika, thank you so much for coming on tonight. Stick around. We're actually going to do a little bit more, but we really, truly do appreciate you coming on. One of the busiest women in Canada, whether it's through the hunting or the firearm industry or on TV or just being a mom. Well, not just being a mom, but being a mom, being a nurse, and also you're also one of our friends as well. So thank you for agreeing to come on tonight.
Well, thank you. I appreciate the invite. It was really fun.
So what we're going to do is we're going to turn her over to, I believe we're turning it over to Rahina, correct, Rahina?
Yeah, it's, excuse me, coming out of a sickness. Yes, so it's coming back to me. We have decided we are going to skip the prizes for this week, and we'll do them, for this month, and then we'll do them next month. Yeah, just to give a little bit more opportunity to everyone that could not join us live today. But anyways, still, thank you for everyone that's going to listen to us later on today. So with that being said, I'll move on to our upcoming events and news. So for the CUSF, make sure you save the date because the CUSF Sports Shooting Conference coming up on October 21st from 10 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. Mountain Time. Registration will be opening soon, so you'll be able to do that at the CUSF.ca website. Registration for CUSF members is free, and there will be opportunity for prizes during the conference as well. Also, the CUSF Shotgun League has started, and you can register for that at the CUSF.ca. Also, registration for that is free for all members, and just participating will enter you into draws for prizes as well. And then, as I keep mentioning, we are always looking for volunteers. If you're interested to be a volunteer, make sure you send us an email at submissions@CUSF.ca. Also, last thing for me, if you're a student at a Canadian university and you are interested in starting a university gun club, also send us an email at submissions@CUSF.ca and we'll help you on getting a club started. That is all for me. Kelly?
Project Maple Seed is slowly, well, not really slowly, we're very actively engaging in our Maple Seed clinics across the country. I've just released an event to our CUSF universities here in Ontario, and it's going to be for in the Stittsville area. So if you're part of Carleton University or Ottawa U or any of the other universities within that area, contact your executive because they may have the link. I've sent it out, and the link is active now. So watch for other CUSF events for Project Maple Seed. And if you do want to come out to an event, check out our events page on mapleseedrifleman.com. Most of our events are sold out. However, if you have a club that you would like to have an event at, contact me. Just send an email to info@mapleseedrifleman.com, or just even click on the box that's on the website and it'll go directly to me, and I'll try and make it happen. So yeah. Lady Guns, Deneen and Casey, what do you got going on?
Well, I just want to go back to Rahina's comments about the CUSF AGM because She Shoots is putting together a segment for it. So for those people who love our show and are thinking about going to the AGM, we will have a segment, and we're also working on some masterclass ideas and doing some pre-recording of some content for people that are interested in, of course, women in the firearms industry. So we're working on a few things like that. And I'm personally working on recovering my shoulder tear so I can participate in hunting season. I missed shooting season, and that kind of sucks. But hopefully for any of you who are listening, and Jerrika, when you're in the province, any type of waterfowling, I've got some great opportunities there for ladies to get involved. Some upland hunting opportunities. If anybody's looking for mentored hunting, there's some great groups out there that are putting on events. So happy to point you in the right direction. And anybody can do it for the first time and then decide if it's for you. So for anybody who wants to see how dogs work, totally try upland hunting. It'll change your mind about dogs with jobs. And so I'm going to do my best to get out and volunteer and see what I can do for that, because unfortunately I can't shoulder a gun. But that's me. So yeah, thanks, Cal.
All right.
Okay, so with that, I'll just like to once again thank you, Jerrika, for joining us today. It was lovely having you, and we'll definitely love to keep in contact with you. I don't know, might have you again soon. We'll see. Other than that, can I go ahead and start our outro?
Yep. Sure.
Okay, perfect. So once again, I'd like to thank our sponsors, Cabela's Canada Outdoor Fund, Savage Arms, Beretta, Vortex, and Canada First Ammo. If you like today's episode, please leave us a like and follow so you don't miss out on any of our episodes. You can watch us on YouTube and Facebook, or you can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and iHeartRadio. If you liked our message and would like to learn more about our programs, check out our websites at cusf.ca, ladyguns.ca, and maplestaterifleman.com. To support us and get some additional perks, check out our membership programs. Thank you all for tuning into the She Shoots podcast, episode 20, Jerrika in the Wild. Make sure to join us on October 10th for episode 21 at our regular time. Guest, topic, and theme will be announced on our social media pages, so make sure to follow us for all the updates. Thank you, and good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.